Well, bugger me, it's nice and bright and it's time for another episode and another fight. And funnily enough, this new episode is called Fight. Sorry, with an exclamation point, so fight! There we go. Hello, I'm Jake Taylor and welcome to another Ultimate Fighter episode review. This is for Season 26, Episode 2, Fight. So, yeah, this was actually a really good episode. It started off goofy, turned a bit more serious later on, and then other stuff happened. But yeah, we're going to go into it. Luckily, we do have the assessment. So yeah. So first of all, obviously, after Roxanne Modafferi's win, I forgot to mention this last time, by the way. Roxanne Modafferi is unique because, well, she's not the first fighter to be in an Ultimate Fighter season twice. She's the first female fighter to do it. So there we go. Anyway, after she won her first fight against Shana Dobson, Team Gaethje and a couple of the assistant coaches, including Johnny Nunes, who was on last season and didn't really make it, and he was on a few seasons before and didn't really make it then. But yeah, I think he fits well as assistant coach. But yeah, they brought a really nice sushi dinner, they had some fun, they played a few games with each other, it was really nice. And DeAnna, I forget her surname already, DeAnna Bennett, decided to, do a bit of a dance, do a bit of a jig. She hadn't even drunk anything. To be honest, I don't think we've ever seen female fighters get drunk. There might have been one time on the Ronda Rousey Miesha Tate season. But yeah, it was weird. But, she was just dancing over on a court, and we find out in her own videos, that she is from Utah. She trains at a gym with Jeremy Horn, who is a very, very funny man, a very good fighter. And yeah, we didn't really find out a whole lot from her thing, but we did find out something surprisingly touching. Is that her dad passed away last December, and it actually leads to the reason why this episode is called Fight, because he was diagnosed with multiple brain tumours on August last year, and by December he was dead, pretty much. He was dying, and he did die in that month. And obviously DeAnna was with him, and the last words he said were fight, and he threw some punches in the air, and she keeps that with her. She has like a bracelet with that word on it. She has a badge of his, and I think he used to be a sheriff. I'm not really 100% sure, but it's a very sheriffy, policey badge. So I think that's the thing he used to do, and she takes it with her everywhere. Like, there are scenes before the actual fight starts where she's still doing some training in the house, and she's got the badge with her on the ground, looking at it as she does a press up and such. So it was a very nice, touching moment. Another surprisingly touching thing is in relation to her opponent, Karine Gevorgyan, who is the first female Armenian MMA fighter, and probably the only one in Armenia. The only other Armenian fighters I can think of are Kara Parisian and Manny Kamburian, and they were both good but not fantastic. And Karine comes in with an element of surprise because she's had a few fights, 3-2, not a bad record, but they've mostly been in international circuits and not really in America. And that's where we get a kind of language barrier with her. She's not really good with her English, and she prefers to speak Armenian, and they have a translator there who can speak Armenian, and as Justin is teaching his fighters, he has to stop. He has to take a bit more of a slow approach with Karine so that he can speak in English. The translator can reiterate that in Armenian, and then Karine will just give an order or confirmation, and they'll carry on with the training. And there was a surprisingly funny moment where Justin tried to use Google Translate, and he translated his words from English to Armenian and showed it to Karine, and she couldn't understand it. I mean, how can an Armenian not read her own language? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But we did have a really nice moment in Roxanne kind of helping as well, because she lived in Japan for 8 years and she taught English as a secondary language, so that's something she's good at. I know there's a big difference between the Japanese language and the Armenian language, but it was really nice. It was a really nice sort of reference to her time in Japan, and it was nice to have her helping. Obviously, not least of all because they're teammates, they're on the same team. But it was just a really nice thing. And it's just because I really like Roxanne Modafferi. She's awesome. She's a bit of a dork. And we do move on from that to a more serious moment as, I think it was Emily. Was it Emily? Let me look at this. Yes, it was. Emily Whitmore from Team Gaethje popped a rib during training. She does go to a doctor, and they have this really fancy new UFC medical center thing now for the Ultimate Fighter, and I think for the UFC in general. So, yeah, that was a really smart business move by DeAnna White, I believe. Actually having a hospital specifically pertaining to your fighters, that's really good. And, excuse me taking a drink. Into that. Yeah. And, yeah, she went there, and she hasn't broken a rib, but she did. There is some cartilage trouble. It's a problem with the muscle and cartilage, so she's fine, and it's nothing she won't recover from that she can't fight, so, yeah, that's a good thing. And in the middle of all this, we had Miesha Tate coming along, because she hasn't appeared on this show before ever. I'm just getting to like her. She's a good fighter, and she's appeared a few times. She's a really nice person. And she actually trained with Emily before, and she brought Emily a present, I believe, from her home, which we don't know where that is. We just know that Emily's American. And I did forget to go into Karine's home video, but I'll go into that like after I'm done here. So, yeah, she brought back this organically grown cherry tomato, a couple of organically grown cherry tomato things. That yeah, it was just a really nice present. I think they're from Emily's home. I'm not really sure. That was kind of lost to me. And I did just remember another important moment, but I said I was going to get to Karine's home video, so we'll do that. She's from Armenia. She trains at a gym there. She actually trains kids there as well. And she trains with her boyfriend, who obviously couldn't come with her because you're not allowed contact with like your relatives, loved ones, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Another moment was this was near the start of the episode when like DeAnna had her dancing and like Team Gaethje came over and celebrated with their first victory. And she started going around the fighters on the bracket because they have the bracket like on the big wall in the corridor where the fighters go in before they go and fight and weigh in and train and stuff. And DeAnna was like pointing to the different things, saying like if I win and she wins, then we could wind up fighting. And it's same for the blue team. She didn't really point it out for the blue team. I'm putting out now, but I think she was sort of implying it. So it was an interesting dynamic, and to have some of the fighters a bit worried about that. Justin Gaethje even said to one of his fighters, I don't remember which one, it wasn't Karine, I remember that much, but he said like eventually they are going to have to fight, but I'm not going to pick favourites. I think he said it to Lauren Murphy, I'm not really sure. He said that he wasn't going to try and pick favourites, like he's going to train each person as much as he can. He doesn't want to pick one person from his team to train over all the other ones. He's going to train them as equally as he can, and that's something I really like seeing in the Ultimate Fighter because there's always that risk that you're going to fight one of your teammates, so it's really not a favouritism thing. And I think I don't really think that's actually happened. If it has, please feel free to correct me. But yeah, it was a really nice a really nice gesture on Justin's part. So really smart thinking from him. And then see, not a lot else happened. There was the fight, obviously. I know it's taken me almost 9 minutes to get to it, but these videos are a bit long. Get used to it. And it was DeAnna Bennett against Karine Gevorgyan, and DeAnna won, picking up the first win for Team Alvarez. Once again, it was first round TKO, and it was probably a smart idea that she won this way, because in terms of standing, she was good, but Karine was slightly better, getting a really good counter left hook here and there. She even rocked DeAnna a bit, like halfway through the round. And DeAnna eventually managed to get into what is known as the danger zone. She was on the highway to that. And it's the 3 feet space between the black line that makes up the centre of the octagon and the cage. And DeAnna went for a takedown, got it, and managed to get them out and ground and pound her way to victory. And now it's 1 to Gaethje and 1 to Alvarez thanks to that. So, yeah, it was a really interesting fight. I would call this one slightly more even than the last fight. Neither one was fights of the season worthy yet. I don't think we've really gone to that point, but both were good enough fights. Both ended in finishes, so I'm not really mad about that. But yeah, it's actually been a it's been a decent season so far. I've been enjoying it, you know, and I look forward to seeing the next fight. I don't remember what. Hang on, I think I might be able to remember what it is. Let's see. Yeah, okay, it's Montana Stewart against Ariel Beck. I believe that's the next one. So, that's going to be quite interesting. Montana Stewart is number 6 on Team Gaethje, Ariel is number 11 on Team Alvarez. They'll make for a good fight. And, you know what? DeAnna picked up another win. She's one of the favourites to win. I can see why now. She actually had a good record going in, like 8-3. That's really, really good. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next episode brings. It doesn't have a title yet, but it probably will at some point. Probably by the time the next episode comes out. So I will see you all then. Well, actually, no, I'll see you all this weekend because Johnson versus Borg is happening. And I'm looking forward to see if Mighty Mouse can extend his winning streak. The first and hopefully still the only UFC flyweight champion. I love Mighty Mouse, everyone knows this. Anyway, I'll see you all then. Thank you for listening. You're awesome. Also, okay, bye.